When I started working when I was 7 years old, I did 6 films as a child artist thereafter, and I also did about 300 commercials. If you ask me, even if my own songs today, I don't remember any lyrics. My first job was that of a real estate agent when I was 16 years old. I worked in my uncle's company. My first celebrity meeting was with, I think, Anil Kapoor ji, because we did Mr. India together and I was 7 years old. My first audition is something I would not remember because I was 14 months old when I did the Farex commercial. I was 1 year, 2 months old. I think it was my mother. Since I was a child, I was very attached to my mother, and I still am. And I think she would be my first best friend. My first audition is something I would not remember because I was 14 months old when I did the Farex commercial. I was 1 year, 2 months old. And I remember my parents telling me that I did go for an audition for that. Which is pretty much not really like an audition. It's basically just looking cute, I guess. And I got the ad. I was the Farex baby for a very long time. I was even on the tin for many, many years as the Farex baby. So that, I think, would have been my first audition. My first drink, and as an alcoholic, I think when I was, I must have been really young, maybe 7 or 8 years old, when I had a sip of my grandfather's beer glass. Because he used to have beer every Sunday, 2 beers I remember in his beer glass every Sunday. And I went and asked him, I said, "What is this?" And he said, "Here, try it." And it tasted so horrible that I think that just left an everlasting memory in my head that I said I'll never have beer in my life. So yeah, I think it was beer. My first thought today morning was, how am I going to get ready in time to be here for this interview? First app that I check every day is nothing really. I try and abstain from social media and the news for some time as soon as I wake up, because I don't like to indulge in any negativity when I wake up. I try and stay as positive as possible. I try and spend time with myself or my wife without really discussing the virtual world, which is social media, or all the stuff that's happening in the news, because sometimes it's so negative that your day starts on a negative note. So I try and abstain from actually looking at social media or looking at the news, at least for the first hour or two when I wake up. I try and indulge in meditating, which is something that I'm trying to do every morning, or just being in the moment and not really discussing stuff that would create a sort of a negative pattern in the day. We try to start our day positively. So none. If you ask me, even if my own songs today, I don't remember any lyrics. And it's really horrible that I don't remember any of my lyrics, but sometimes it just comes back to me. But otherwise, if you ask me about my songs as well, I don't remember. So learning somebody else's song is almost virtually impossible for me. My first job was that of a real estate agent when I was 16 years old. I worked in my uncle's company, and it was pretty hard because I was this college-going kid who had to scout for properties and get told off many times from property owners about intruding on their property premise. And it was quite an adventure because that was my first job, and got kicked out of many places. Used to roam the streets of the city morning to evening just to scout for properties to bring into the database of my uncle's company. So yeah, that was quite an adventure for about 2 years. I think from 16 to 18. My first celebrity meeting was with, I think, Anil Kapoor ji, because we did Mr. India together and I was 7 years old, and I had met Mr. Shekhar Kapoor and I got the part. And I think the first time he introduced all the 10 kids to Anil sir was not on the set. I think it was before that someplace. So the kids could get a bit familiar with, Arun Bhaiya, as I used to call him. And so he would also get familiar with the 10 kids who are his adopted kids. So I think that would have been my first celebrity encounter. I don't think there was one particular moment that I realized that I wanted to become an actor, because when I started working when I was 7 years old, I did 6 films as a child artist thereafter, and I also did about 300 commercials while I was growing up. So I think that exposure in front of the camera, that kind of instilled this desire, this passion to be an actor forever. And of course, I wasn't from a film family, so there was no roadmap for that. But I think it was during my growing up years that I actually realized that I wanted to become a film actor. I think it would have been Masoom, Shekhar Kapoor's Masoom. I was probably really young, and I must have seen it on Doordarshan at that time, because there were no channels, there was only one. And I remember crying a lot because, from a child's point of view, when you watch that film, it is very moving for a child to be watching another child being almost given like stepsonly treatment. So yeah, I think that film moved me a lot as a child, and then little did I know that I would be working with the director of Masoom soon after. My first friend in Bollywood would be, I think, Rahul Dev. Rahul and I struck a chord when we were shooting for Awara Pagal Divana in 2001. And we traveled together to New York and we shot for APD for a while. And of course, we resumed shooting in Mumbai as well as in Oman, Muscat. And we just hit it off, and then we happened to do two more films almost simultaneously, which was Jaane Hoga Kya and Footpath. And then we just never stopped being in touch. Until today, we're in touch, and that's one of the rare friendships I think in the Hindi film industry that lasts over time.